Hello everybody and welcome to the Magical Learning Podcast for this week. This week we are talking about finding balance. Now this is a really fun episode if you have the opportunity to watch this as a video. We've uploaded that to Spotify so you can go have a look at the Spotify one because it's all of us in the same room, which doesn't usually happen. It's a great conversation about how to find more balance in your life, but as you can see when we're in the same room together we have a bit of fun, so enjoy and have a magical week. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Magical Learning Podcast for this week. If you are watching this, you'll notice it's a little bit different. We're all in the same room, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to go around and just see how everyone's week's been. And I might start here with Allegra so we can share this mic. Allegra, how has your week been?
It's been all right. Nothing too special, but I've recently started a new food subscription call it from U Foods. Surprisingly good so far. This is not a plug, but for those interested in a discount, contact me for the discount code.
Good job, good work, Leggers. Grahame, how are you going this week?
I'm good, Jez. And if anyone from U Foods is listening, I'm expecting that Lega's future subscription will be free. Thank you. No, we're good. We rocked up to Melbourne half an hour ago after a quick drive down from Cobram. Got here in one piece, so that was good. Excited to be here.
Beautiful. Well, it's great to have you here. It's great for the local pod. Danette, how's your week been?
Yeah, good, Jez. So had class yesterday afternoon in Wagga, which brand new client. Really exciting. So next 3 Wednesdays, sorry, 2 after the one I did this week. So yeah, good. Still got a scratchy throat. Can't wait to get rid of that. But other than that, life's good.
Nice one. And Kanika, how are you going this week?
I'm going really good. It's been a quieter week than I've had in a very long time. And I'm reading a new book that I'm really excited about. So it's been a great week. It's called Yellowface. It's by Rebecca Kong. It's about the publishing industry and plagiarism. It's very good.
Mm-hmm. And I have been seeing Kanika react very violently to the book in positive ways. So, and this week I've also just been doing a bit more writing for this Channel 31 show, which people can check out. It's called Chatterbox with Ben Murphy. But yeah, otherwise it's been pretty good. So this week, exciting that we're all here because the topic is finding balance, which is exciting. So I thought this is a good one because it's something that we do touch on a little bit, but this is a nice little mix of people to be talking about it and all doing slightly different things. So cool to do it. So, all right, I might start with you here, Leggers. What are some things you do to find balance in your life?
Well, I will just say that this is not particularly my strong suit in life. I often find that I'm out of balance. That's usually when I'm very busy with something like uni or work. But some things I try to do to help. I usually have my coffee outside in the morning, if it's sunny especially, just because I do animation, so it's a lot of sitting inside in front of a computer in a fairly dark room. So a lot of that is not great. So I try and get some vitamin D in the morning. And I take breaks throughout the day. I try and sit outside about as much as possible, really. Winter is hard, but it's okay. And just if I'm feeling quite busy, I try and reach out to friends to have a night to hang out. But yeah, as I said, I'm not really, this isn't my strong suit. So anyway.
Good tips there, Leggers, though. That's good. Awesome. All right, well, Kanika's got the mic, so I might start with you. What are some things you do to try and find balance in the day?
I try and stop responding to emails post 5 or 6 o'clock. I don't do it successfully, but I try. I've also started doing this thing where I put my phone on do not disturb, which serves kind of like as airplane mode, but I can access everything. I know everyone knows what do not disturb mode is. I'm the only one that's just discovered it. It's really helpful. But yeah, I mostly just try and set boundaries with myself as to what I will and will not do after a certain amount of time, because I simultaneously am always working on at least 3 things at once. So it can get a bit overwhelming and confusing. But yeah, I think just setting boundaries is how I try and find balance. And I also try and find balance by like, even with my reading, I'll read like literary stuff and then I'll read nonsense. So after a certain time in the day, I'm allowed to read nonsense, but before that, I can't.
Nice.
So-
Good job. It's a good way. That's a good way to do balance in your hobbies as well. So good work. Danette, what are some things you do to find your balance in life?
So I suppose because we've been teaching this and resilience for a long time, one of the things I love to do, and this is before the start of the year, is try and book in regular holidays. That way I know that I'm sort of getting some time to myself. Like everyone, I love to read, so I'm not. So usually my balance involves that. I put my phone on the charger overnight in my office and close the door. And that means that at the end of the workday, I'm not looking at work stuff, because otherwise it just, you lose that break between you time and work time. My other favorite thing at the moment is having Epsom salt baths when I can. So our rain tank, for those of you we're not wasting water, our rain tank is actually overflowing. And therefore, from time to time, I'll go, you know what? It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm such a rager. That's the end of my work day, and in the bath, and Grahame will often play some music and just chill. And that's a really nice end to the day. So that's sort of how I get my balance.
Good one. Thanks for that, Danette. Grahame, what are some things you do to find balance in your life?
Actually, a really good question. Like Leggers, I have not been particularly good at this for quite a while, particularly the last 12 months. So I think last year, one of the things that really helped was Danette and I would go and hop at the spa outside at night, and just sit and look at the stars and the meteors and everything else, and that was pretty awesome. We haven't done that much this year. Playing music is one thing that helps. But again, I've got a guitar sitting in the lounge room that I haven't picked up for probably 2 months. Well, yeah, they played. They played. I do know the chords to Bar Bar Black Sheep. If anybody is interested, which is probably nobody at all. Just when I saw the question, I thought, find balance. And then because my brain is so literal sometimes, an interesting and completely useless piece of trivia, except for people who are sort of 60 plus. One tip for improving your balance is when you brush your teeth, do it standing on one leg. Because if you're 60, 65 plus, balance becomes one of the key indicators to longer term health and avoiding falls and stuff like that. So improving your balance. There you go. You heard it first.
There you go.
Learning.
No. Grahame, you have to hold it. We're staying with you for the next bit. Well, yeah, we should have a segment called Magic Cool Facts, and that would definitely be one of them. All right, Grahame, let's stay with you here, though. What can happen when your balance is out of sorts, and how can you tell it's happening to you?
Again, great questions. Can I just also acknowledge the stand on one foot when you're brushing your teeth came from Michael Mosley's book. I'm pretty sure it's called Just One Thing. Brilliant book. Sorry, we do. It's important. It's important. Ask me the question again, Jess.
No problem.
It's been a long morning, folks. I've been in a car for 4 hours.
What can happen when you balance? What can happen when your balance is out of sorts, and how can you tell it's happening to you?
Again, great question. I think probably the early indicators are just a general sense of lower resilience. Everything becomes a bit of a struggle when you're not in balance. That's probably the first indicator. Is nothing really feels easy. yeah, I'll just stick with that. I think that's, yeah.
I mean, that's a good one. Thanks for that, Grahame. Danette, I'll throw to you now. What can happen when your balance is out of sorts, and how can you tell it's happening to you?
So I know my moods. So a bit like Grahame, moods tend to drop rather than being. I'm fairly optimistic. I'll notice that I'm more flat and I'm a bit grumpy and whingy. Sometimes hangry. For anyone who knows what hangry is. And I think in that instance, life becomes harder, and because I'm not feeling 100%, then I'm not as generous. I'm not as much in service. So it makes you lesser of a version of yourself, which is actually not really good. So that taking the time to do effort, to look after yourself and be balanced is actually super important because it brings the best version of you out.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for that, Danette. Kanika, what can happen when your balance is out of sorts, and how can you tell it's happening to you?
Well, for me specifically, I feel like I get fatigued physically. Like I feel like I've just worked out a lot and my body hurts. That's like a physiological response. Also, like almost anything will make me cry. But other than that, like another sort of marker is like I make a lot of mistakes that I wouldn't usually make if I wasn't like overtired or like burnt out or like stretched too thin. Like I'll make like the silliest mistakes, like something that I would never make if I wasn't tired. So that's kind of how I know, because I feel like this happened to me like a few Fridays ago, where by the time it was like 2 p.m., I'd like done 3 tasks and I'd messed up all of them in some way or the other. Like not detrimental mistakes, but like, and like then you feel even worse because you're already feeling so flat that like even the small things that you wouldn't have messed up then are just like a push over the edge. So that's kind of, it sounds very dramatic, but it's not really that dramatic. It's just pretty sad.
Nice. Good tips there as well. Leggers, what can happen when your life is your balance is out of sorts, and how can you tell this is happening to you?
Well, I can speak to personal experience on this one, but I start to feel really burnt out, and I think my sort of mental health also sort of suffers. I get very stressed. I feel like the other said, easily frustrated, and just like things will sort of set you off that normally sort of wouldn't. And then other like physical indicators, like especially sort of like around my house, is like it's messy, the laundry is piled up, the dishes have piled up. I also live by myself, so it's like if I'm not doing it, no one's doing it. So it really does pile up. And also things like ordering Uber Eats when I can't be bothered to cook because I'm feeling too tired to cook. And just like in general, self-care just sort of falls from my mind, and I just feel like I'm just trying to get through it. I feel like all of those are really good indicators for me personally that I'm sort of like not in a good balanced state. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Leggers. All right, well, let's jump into our final question. I'll start with you again here, Leggers. How can we help others to find some balance?
Well, I go to therapy if I need extra help, just because sometimes it's too much to do just by yourself, and getting professional help is always good. I also like to do, if my chores have sort of been stacking up, I like to either really blast music in my ears or watch a TV show on my phone as I'm doing it, just to sort of like give me some sort of level of motivation and fun about the chore that I don't want to do, because there is no level of fun in it inherently. And I sometimes set a hard finish time for work, which other people have said as well, like just you have to stop at a certain point. And also this is with the U foods, because I am currently in a state of mind where I'm not really balanced. I've decided to do this for uni because cooking every night was becoming quite hard for me. And so this sort of takes out dishes and also cooking time. So I'm experimenting with it, as suggested by my therapist, and so far so good. So, sometimes you just got to alleviate some of the the stress from your life when it's sort of not balanced. But yeah.
Thanks, Lias. Kanika, how can we help others to find some balance?
I guess first have others communicate to you when they're not doing well. So if you're not doing okay, communicate it to someone. You can't expect people to like read your mind, number one. But also if you are someone that happens to notice that someone is not 100% like, I guess, there or being themselves, or, you know, you can offer them, ask them what kind of support you can offer them. Because again, people accept and receive support so differently. And if there's anything, I guess, you can do to sort of alleviate their struggles, that's helpful. What I found is when I've dealt with people that are overwhelmed, I sit down and like I make a list with them about like what they're overwhelmed about and how we can solve the problems, like a step by step. Because I feel like writing it down, you then realize it's actually like every time someone's getting overwhelmed, they're just like, I got all these things. And then you write it down and it's actually just like a list of 3 things that don't need to be done for like the next 1 month. And you're just like, relax. So actually putting something down and like looking at your problem in like a sort of tangible way, or looking at your life in sort of like a tangible way is helpful, because then you can actually see how to solve it.
Great suggestions there, Kanika. Danette, how can we help others to find some balance?
So I really like what Kanika and Allegra were talking about, and totally agree about the therapy thing. So we have a weird society that sees therapy as not okay, and it's like you go to a doctor if you're sick. So if you need some support, always reach out and ask for it. I think sitting with someone when they're a bit out of balance and just giving them space to get out what's going on inside them can be helpful. I know that you sometimes cook for people. It can be as simple as taking a meal to someone, or maybe buying them a coffee or something like that. Occasionally I give massages. Not as in I physically give them, I give gift vouchers for things like that. Just clarifying, you would not want a massage from me. And I think the other really important thing is to role model it ourselves, because if they can see a different way, that can sometimes give people hope. I think also just being kind and generous and compassionate and understanding we all go there, and encouraging them not to beat themselves up. Yeah.
Love it. Thanks, Danette. Great suggestions there. Grahame, how can we help others to find some balance?
Before I get to that, thanks for clarifying the comment about giving massages. I was sitting here thinking, no, you don't. Just got awkward really, really quickly. Kanika had to run out of the room in tears. So I just wanted to go, but I love the comments from everyone so far, but I think again, this is one of those things that starts and finishes with us, as in ourselves. Danette's comment earlier about generosity, and I think trying to help somebody else who might not have balance in their life. A big part of that's just being empathetic, which is almost impossible to do if we have no resilience ourselves. It's like we can't give something that we don't have. So, like a lot of things, it really does start with us. But again, going back to one of Kanika's points before, we need to be able to ask for help. Sometimes that's really hard, and it's really important. And whether that's going to talk to a therapist, as Legos was talking about, but also hugely important. So important nowadays. And I think the kindness, our ability to sit and just be with somebody without necessarily trying to fix their issues, but just being able to listen to them requires that we have some resilience ourselves, that we've got some kindness and compassion that we can share with them. So if we're not giving ourselves that to start with, it makes it a lot harder, I think, to share that with someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, massages would also be great. Just saying. For those of you who are not watching the video, I am looking very pointedly and meaningfully at Danette, who is ignoring me.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say also just with the being there, I guess for people sometimes that they just need someone to let them know that they're not crazy, like how they're feeling about a situation. Like it's like, no, this makes sense. Hey, you're feeling stressed out because you're in a stressful situation. All right, everybody. Well, let's grab some final thoughts. So, Grahame, I'll start with you. Any final thoughts on today's conversation or finding balance?
No, it's been a great chat. So thanks to everybody. I think again, just we have to remember to look after ourselves first, so we can then help others find balance. That's it.
Love it. Thank you, Grahame. Danette, any final thoughts on finding balance or today's conversation?
So I'd like to encourage our listeners to learn to ask for help. So I'm pretty sure every single one of us that's on today's podcast have done therapy, and it works. So totally promote it. The other thing is that when you ask someone for help, because I'm sure if someone asks you for help, you'd 9 times out of 10 give it, because that's really important. When you don't ask for help, you stop someone giving you that same gift. I think it's super important, and everyone needs help from time to time. So don't be afraid to ask. And if that person doesn't have time, don't take that as a no forever. Find someone else. There's always someone. We're here. Yeah. Truly. If you need to, we're here.
That's true. That's in all of our podcast descriptions. It's always said you can reach out. So that is true. Kanika, any final thoughts on finding balance or today's conversation?
I think that sometimes when you are struggling, especially, it's important to remember that it's okay to be selfish from time to time. So I would say that when you are struggling, don't try and think of the impact your lack of doing something would have, and just like be a little selfish. Not all the time, but sometimes it's okay.
Nice one. Thanks, Kanika. Allegra, any final thoughts on finding balance or today's conversation?
I just agree with everyone else. Like, seek help if you need it, and set boundaries with yourself and others if you feel that you don't have the capacity to do more. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for this has been a really fun local podcast, which we don't get to do all the time. So that's very exciting. To everybody that's listening at home, thank you so much for listening. As always, we're here every week. And so thank you everybody for being on the podcast. Subscribe, tell your friends, and as always, have a magical week. Thank you.